yes, it's that time again, folks. It's Friday night in the bus, and as always, you know what that means. It's time for that Friday feeling. Welcome back. It's been a hell of a few days. It's been a hell of a week. And yeah, as you can see, we've got a busy bus tonight because there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I was literally on TNF last night, and just 24 hours later, things are moving at a rapid pace, even quicker than the winds outside right now. So yeah, joining me, not caught up in a storm just now over in Canada. How's the weather for you, Liam, over in Canada just now, mate?
It's sunny, it's warm, it's so nice out right now. I mean, I feel terrible for what's going on back there. I mean, thank God we got a full squad to wait down this bus because, I've seen pictures of lorries getting blown off the road and stuff. So,
yeah,
I've got Glasgow hurricane experience. I remember in 66, I think, 67, living down opposite Tenant's Brewery, and we lived on the second floor in a tenement, and the third floor got the roof blown off. And see, when you go and you see that stuff as a wee kid, it affects you. You know, you remember going up to the stairs and looking through and just being able to see clouds and sky, through your neighbour's house. So I hope everybody's really safe and careful and look after your family and your pets and all that. And it's not a funny thing. So watch after yourselves out there, people.
It's obviously me and Mick are in the Central Belt, so it's past us the worst of it anyway. But earlier on, Jesus Christ, it was intense. But yeah, that could play a part tomorrow, but we'll get onto that very, very soon. Connor, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good, mate. I'm just in here, taking shelter with a couple of cans and that. It's Good Friday. You know what? Got free time. Let's even jump on the bus. Going at 7:30 to work this morning. I'm only a wee fella, so I was quite lucky I didn't get swept away like Toto at the Wizard of Oz. So, but
most of gravity.
So, but anyway, it's all good to me to talk about Celtic and the return of my one beloved, the Portuguese superstar. But I'm sure we're going to that later on the night.
Indeed, we will. And Mick, you've survived the winds of today. How are you doing tonight, though?
I'm good, mate. I was out earlier, went to the shops and stuff like that earlier, and I kind of underestimated how windy it would be, to be honest, as daft as it sounds, but I'll be fine going to shops and back. Well, it was hell. One of the fences round about me are blowing down and everything. Yeah. It's wild. And I was going to say about it as well, the lights at Celtic Park have been on for the last, 6 hours or something, so they must be see if we can carry out a repair or whatever.
Okay, yeah, because you're close by to Celtic Park, so you're a man in the know. You can literally see the stadium right now, so you can keep it informed.
Right in front of me, yeah. So it's been a lot up since about 3 o'clock, I think. The lights are still on, so they must be carrying out repairs, whatever, trying to get the game ahead. So it's a real day, isn't it?
Yeah, well, let's hope it does go ahead, because yes, as usual in the Friday feeling, we do talk about the game at the weekend. We are playing Dundee tomorrow, weather permitting, so we'll see how that goes. Celtic put out a statement earlier on. We will still treat it like the game is going ahead. As far as we know, it is. Celtic haven't told us otherwise. So, yeah, we will do all that as well as the meaty transfer talk tonight. Because, yes, I said earlier on, I was on TNF last night, and in 24 hours, things have moved at a rapid pace. So we'll get into that very, very soon. Before we do all that, of course, you can do, folks. You do all that good stuff. Helps us out massively on the bus. You can hit the like button. Helps us out in the old algorithms. You can hit the subscribe button. Haven't done so yet. I believe we have now hit 5,000 subscribers. So that is fantastic. Thank you very much. We got there. It was a slow one. It was a slow burner. But we could see it in the distance. We could see the goal. And I believe the other day we hit 5,000. So thank you very much. But hey, there's always another milestone to be hit. So if you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button and keep us in your life that wee bit longer. Get involved in our comment section tonight. Let's see who's in comments. So we've got 420 somewhere. Got Danish, Smell the Glove, James Kennedy, Patrick McLaughlin, Jim C, Joe Hendry, Ian McIntosh, Alan Mockler, Graham Tyrrell. Oh, he's in. He's got the klaxon ready. Liam, he's got the klaxon.
Greg Taylor.
Mate, and ironically, his initials GT as well. It's just meant to be, isn't it? Just meant to be. So yeah, Graham, have that klaxon ready, mate. And of course, head over to piesports.com and you can still use the code BUS1888. You'll get 12.5% off of your order. Yeah, well, that's said and done. Yeah, let's get this Friday feeling underway. So, Liam, Wiseman, never a dull moment with this club, is there, mate? Never a dull moment. Yep. What a wild week. We qualify for the next round of the Champions League, and within the hour of the game finishing, stories are doing the rounds that Kyogo's for the off. Don't get wrong, there was stories early in the month that Kyogo was heading off to the MLS. So we're not this isn't news to us. We've been linked with a few moves away back in the summer. We talked about it last night. He changed his agent within a matter of days of that. He was linked to a crazy move to Man City, which obviously never materialised, which also kind of coincided with the return of Adam Ida. But now, yes, he's there. He's in France. The deal is getting signed, and the manager literally today. Usually, managers are always quite coy and just try to oh no, they don't want to talk about other players and other clubs and whatnot. But no, they pretty much confirmed that it's happening for the next 24 hours. But of course, the caveat to all this, the other thing that's happening, the big news is who had this on the 2025 bingo card? I know I didn't, Liam. Jota coming back to Celtic. We literally talked about it on Tuesday night. David put it to me as a transfer rumour, and I just went, I'd love it to happen, but it just reeks of lazy journalism to me. But hey, what do I know? 3 days later, here we are. It looks like that's going to happen. So, Liam, start us off, mate. Try and make some sense of it all, mate. What's going on?
First of all, Kyogo. Could you imagine the carnage? So, he was 3 marginal, small VAR checks away for a hat-trick in a Champions League match. Could you imagine the carnage if those goals had stood? And at the end of the game, we announced that we were getting rid of a hat-trick Champions League striker an hour after the match. I think, you wouldn't be worried about the wind blowing the stadium doing. I think the fans would have tore it down. So losing Kyogo, I think probably it's the right thing to do at that right age for Kyogo. Knowing that he wants away, always the right thing. Emotionally, well, I never took to a player so fast in a Celtic shirt as what I did to Kyogo, and I think a lot of the fans share that as well. You talk to any Waynes and all that, I've seen them on holiday here all the time, they'll be wearing a Celtic shirt, and who's your favourite player? Kyogo, and that's something else for a player like that. The fact that we were replacing him with a player that is equally loved, and I think has even got a tighter connection to the club and wants to come back, because I think we're getting a player back now that has great days in front of him, but also has a history with Celtic and knowing that, you know what, this might just be the place where he needs to be to flourish. Some people are like that. It's all about environment, and I think he feeds off a crowd. He feeds off a big occasion. And so I think for that, I'm all for that. So going with these 2 transfers, 1 in, 1 out, I think that's really, I'm happy emotionally, but I think tactically, now I want to see what we do. Are we going to go after another striker? Brendan talked in his press conference today about what I was saying in the WhatsApp group immediately after us. Does Brendan move Maeda to the inside? Because I know he rates him there, and that's always position in Japan. The other thing with Kyogo wanting to move is the other Japanese players wanting out as well, because we've been in a situation before with the Ryan Christies and the Christopher Ayers and stuff in the world as well. So, as much as it's whirlwind and it's activity and it's a movement, it offers up a lot of questions as well that, we're kept in the dark about. I mean, I had no idea it was Kyogo that wanted to move. And if that's the case, I heard it was a rumour that the Japanese coach wants players for just the big 5 leagues. I mean, that's a daft way to view anything. You miss it like the Henrik Larssons of the world if he was Japanese. But you wonder if there's any truth to that, and if this is the first of our Japanese identity leaving Celtic. But I'm very happy to have Jota back. One of my favourite players. Fist to the sky, rebel till I die. That's my boy.
the brazen heater, as it was called by Anthony Haggerty, the one against Rangers in the semi-final. Fantastic. But the what Liam said there about these rumours, Connor, about the Japanese national coach, this sounds a bit familiar. Matt O'Reilly, the Denmark manager, remember all that chat as well in the summer? They want to play at a higher level. If that's the case, then surely Maeda won't get any more call-ups for Japan. But I can see Kyogo wants to play at a World Cup. The next one is in 2 years. Next year, in fact. We're into 2025 now. So 18 months away. he's 30 years old. You know, he'll be, 31, 32 when it comes around. The next World Cup after that, 2030. So realistically, how many chances he got? And if he's been told by that manager he wants, you playing at a higher level, then there's nothing we can do. I find that, and I'm kind of relieved in a way that the stories came out, that because right away I think a lot of fans went in there two-footed on the club and the board. This is the board just trying to cash in and push him out the door and whatnot. But we said it in the summer, with the agent change, there was a wee bit of suspicion that something's awry when a player usually changes their agent. There's something going on. There's a problem around the corner. So it is interesting to hear that the club have it came out that Kyogo wanted to leave. Brendan was just said today in his presser, it's been a few months. So how long's a few months? Judge for yourself. But the case is now, as Joe Hendry says on the screen corner, we need to go and get another striker. And I know that Liam said there that Brendan has already pushed the idea of Maeda. He does like him through there. But again, I think Brendan needs another striker, because there's an article doing the rounds with that as the headline that he backs Maeda to be the new striker. But when we actually read the article, he does say in there a couple of times he still wants more reinforcement. So, Connor, will the board get the checkbook out, and is there another striker coming in the door, mate? What do you think?
I think there will be. Just before I get to that, I just wanted to just say my wee piece on Kyogo, because obviously he came in and he's steadfast became one of my favourite ever players to grace the jersey. Now, I was born in 1987, so I wasn't old enough to really appreciate the years that Henrik Larsson, played in a jersey. I could see what it meant to people. I could kind of understand the context, but my frontal lobe hadn't fully developed yet since I was a child. I didn't know what I was watching, really, so I had no real inclination as to how special he really was as a player. I've just finished reading Henrik's new book. I suggest everybody goes out and buys it and reads it. It's an absolutely fabulous read, but he talks about the Celtic support, buying into the club, what it means to the club. You have to show up in these big moments, and you have to, put in 110% effort every single game, no matter what, whether you're coming back with injuries or, a broken leg and that. And I think everything that was said in that book by Henrik Larsson, you can apply to Kyogo as well. Now, I'm not saying Kyogo's as good a player as Henrik Larsson. I don't think we'll probably ever, in any of our lifetimes, see a player grace Celtic as good as Henrik Larsson. I think it's damn near impossible. But he's the closest bloody thing to it I think I've ever seen in my life. And I think most people can agree with that. He's the best player, the best striker to play in the club since Larsson left. I'd say he's better than Dembele, better than Edouard, better than Hooper, better than Samaras. He's better than all of them. He puts them all to shame. He came in, he played with a smile on his face and put in 110% effort. Didn't matter if he just popped at his shoulder and an arm injury, he would try and come back as soon as possible and fire goals and fire them in the back of the net. There's a reason why as soon as he came in the door, we were infatuated with him. He was such a good player. He scored a bloody hat-trick on his home debut against Dundee. I think his recent form is maybe kind of dimming the disappointment in some people, but for me, it's amplifying it, basically because I can see that it's clearly affected him, and that's why he's not necessarily been at the forefront of what we know he can be doing, because it's been in the back of his mind the entire time, and he's wanted to leave. But he's just such a special player. He's given us so many, important goals, cup final goals, derby winning goals, cup final derby winning goals. He's in, Champions League goals. He's gave us everything, and he's done it with, a smile on his face and his heart on his sleeve, and the love, the Celtic support, and his love for everybody else as well. And I just want to say to me, man, God bless, greener pastures. Hopefully he goes on and he can finally go and live his dream of playing in the World Cup, because if there's one thing that Japanese people don't lack, it's national pride, and that's a really big thing for them. So I think for him, that's probably where his head's at. So, but yeah, I just think that God bless him. Thank you for everything he's done. Terrific servant from the club. Legend, no two ways about it. He's an absolute bona fide Celtic legend for me, especially in terms of what we've had in terms of the modern era. He'll go down as many people's Celtic player ever. A lot of the younger generation, you see the kids going to Celtic Park with the wee Japan flags and the bandanas and all sorts. So he's really going to go down in history as a Celtic great, and I'm just so thankful for what he gave to the club. But we now have to move on. We now have to move on to the next chapter, the next phase of the club. And I do believe that the board and Brendan Rodgers have probably been working for months now, because obviously they have been made well aware that Kyogo's wanting to leave, that I'm bringing in a new striker. I do believe that it's a possibility of going to be that Matthias Kivsgartland from Brøndby, because I do believe that Brendan said in his press conference today that they have been working behind the scenes to bring somewhere in, to bring in reinforcements in that area, and they said they've been working on it for a long time now. Celtic have had their eyes on this boy from Brøndby for a good number of years now. Now, he must obviously fit the bill for what Brendan Rodgers wants, otherwise he would just go for somebody else, because this clearly I don't think is a board move. He's obviously clearly been scouted. I think his highlight reel suggests he's a decent player. I think, he's been banging in goals for Brøndby as well. And I know people maybe look at the standard of the league and all the rest of it. He's still quite young, maybe turn their nose up at it. Like Kyogo's just at the door. Kyogo was an unknown for Japan. Literally came in like a flash. Like, he came in like he left. He came in a flash. When none of us knew who he was, and he came in and took to our hearts instantly. So there's no way of determining if players are going to be good or going to be bad, just simply based on the pedigree or the standard of the league they're necessarily coming from. A lot of people didn't fancy Luke McCowan. Came in this year, been absolutely fabulous. So. I think it's safe to say that by the end of the January window, we're going to have another striker in the door, someone who's there who's going to challenge Ida and possibly Maeda for that starting striker position, and possibly one of the young lads for the youth system as well, if they maybe get a couple of appearances on the bench or whatever in the cup, or whatever that may be. But yeah, I think it's looking likely that we're definitely going to be getting a new striker in the door relatively soon.
There's no excuse for it, Mick, because they've had all these months to do it. This is the first acid test for Paul Tisdale, the new head of recruitment, chief scout, whatever title they've gave him. I don't remember what it is, but this is his first transfer window, because it was after the season started, Mick, wasn't it, when he was announced as he was part of the new recruitment team, and obviously we've had the announcement of David Pleat now being involved. So who knows if he's got something up his sleeve. We talked about it a couple of Fridays ago, I think, about the contacts that he'll have in the game, regardless of his age. Age just means experience, and he'll have lots and lots of contacts. Again, there could be stuff going on there, but yeah, Mike, I don't know, you and a few of us in the team, to be fair, have got quite a cynical view of the board, shall we say, Mike? I think it's safe to say. Do we think they've got all the cards in order here? Everything's ready to go? Because to me, I don't think you could just let Kyogo go without a plan in place. As stupid as some of the decisions the board have been over the years, surely, Mick, they cannot have surely sanctioned this to say, will be fine with Adam Ida and Johnny Kenny for the rest of the season, and maybe Maeda through the middle.
Famous last words, Phil, to be honest, but I don't think they would, to be honest. I mean, if this has been ongoing since the summer, apparently, and I'd actually heard about 2 or 3 weeks ago that he was going to leave in end of January after qualification, but they decided one way or another. But just taking a echo what Connor said, just a wee bit about Kyogo as well. Just if you remember the context of what he came in as well, the state we were in after the COVID season, and then he got led down the garden path with Eddie Howe for like 3 or 4 months. And then obviously Ange came in, and the team did a massive rebuilds. But even thinking back, it's still quite scary how we managed to get everything right and what kind of state we're in. And we finished 20 points behind, like, didn't we? Season before.
Like that, yeah.
So he came in, obviously. I remember being at the game actually, Phil. You're probably in as well, the Dundee game, and right away, like, Jesus Christ, this boy's movement's phenomenal. Like, I generally hadn't seen anything like it since St. Arsene, and it kind of reminded me of him. Just the way he kind of peeled off centre halves into the channels and stuff like that, and he got across the defenders. That did remind me of Arsene quite a lot. Don't say he's the same type of player, obviously, but just his movement and stuff. And obviously, he just became a talisman under Ange, and even the League Cup final, Ange's first year, his 2 goals, stuff like that.
Yeah, against Hibs.
Oh, unbelievable. The first goal was from as it was, his first touch, and the strike right away, and the second one, the chip.
Oh, brilliant.
So obviously the second season, he gets injured for 4 months today. That season, I think 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, he did. Aye.
So he still managed 20 goals, and then the season after that, he got 34 goals. So ridiculous. But I know he's tailed off a wee bit maybe in recent times. I don't think he's suited Rodgers' style, to be honest. But I just want to say how much a privilege it's been watching him the last few years. Just he came in and rejuvenated the team. He needed this sort of talisman at that time. Just because there were a lot of people at the club and everything. And he came in and had to go running right away, and he just looked phenomenal. Again, but the board though, we'll soon find out. I know I can be quite cynical about them the best of times, but I don't.
We all can, to be fair.
I know, definitely, but I don't think it would. To be honest, I think if we're starting to try to sign Kieran Tierney and bringing Jota back, at least show a bit of ambition. So, got to kind of try and trust him on this one, as hard as it may be at times. But no, I think he will get somebody in. If he's been known for a while that he's gone, then surely they'll have a ducks in a row and get somebody in quite sharpish for in the window. So. We'll be got a week left, haven't we? So we'll soon find out, I suppose.
Yep, got a funny feeling though we're going to be there on a deadline night. A few minutes to go, waiting on some stuff happening. I hate it when it goes that way. There's still a wee bit of a buzz to it, but yeah, we'll see how long they keep us waiting for these announcements. Also, as well, I need to get used to this. Yes, Graham Tyrrell, I have got a player teaser for you. I know sometimes this slips my mind at the start of the show. So yes, for the last few weeks, I have been doing the guess the player with the pathway of their career. So tonight's hidden player behind the BSC Bus logo is, I think, I've got a funny feeling that Mick, you'll know who it is, but we'll come to the answer at the end of the show, but I'll show you the teaser just now. So the hidden player tonight is this one. Played for Chelsea, then Celtic, then Derby, then Dundee, our opponents tomorrow, weather permitting, Preston North End and Walsall. That is the career of this player. Yes, we will reveal the answer at the end to say I've got a funny feeling, Mick, you might know who that is right away, but yeah, we'll come back to it at the end, and we'll talk about that player as well. But yes, that is a player teaser for this evening. So, wait. So, Liam, yes, in terms of the, obviously, Kyogo, obviously, he heads off now to pastures new. Jota coming back, potentially another new striker on the way. So, yeah, I've got to say I'm quite excited. I know I can understand a lot of fans are in a bit of panic and a bit of disarray, but I feel like there's excitement here. And last night doing the TNF, Russell described it as an aggressive move because the player has obviously indicated he doesn't want to stay, he wants to move on. So Brendan is doing something that, for example, Neil Lennon did not do in the COVID season when there was a fair few players who wanted to leave and we didn't move them on. And that, a lot of things went wrong that season, but that probably played a part. One of the, think of it as a big pie, lots of different slices. That's probably one of the slices and what went wrong in the COVID season. But last night, obviously, he said it's an aggressive move from Brendan. It's a boss move. It's pretty much like, the players don't want to be here. We'll get him a move out. He's obviously stayed. He's stayed till we got our Champions League qualification guaranteed, which was excellent. Again, other players may throw the toys out the pram and be like, I want to leave right away, first day of January. Fair play to Kyogo, he saw it out. But obviously, we were talking about the next strike coming in. It makes so much sense because how many times have we said this as well in the last 2 years, talk about the January window and how important it can be, especially now, Liam, because we will have qualifying games for the Champions League next summer. There is no guarantees that we will be in the Champions League. And you know what, like with qualifiers, it's a bit of a lottery for us. So it makes all the sense in the world to get a striker in now. Now, I know there's some rumours flying around about a loan to the end of the season. To me, that's kicking the can down the road. I think we need to show the big cojones here, Liam, and go out and get a striker that's going to be permanently ours, with maybe a view to buy or just a loan to develop somebody to, as I say, kick the can down the road, because we need a striker who is firing fit and ready to go in our system and gets a pre-season under Brendan so that when this Champions League qualifier rolls around, and I think it's one round we've got, and it'll be the playoff round, which will be middle to the end of August. So it's quite late into the pre-season, but still, we need to have them up to speed, because what we don't want is, let's say Kyogo had stayed right the way to the end of the season and then left, and then we're scrambling around in the summer looking for a striker. So to me, it's got to be somebody coming in permanently if it is a new striker. If we also get a loan guy as well as another option, just again for injuries and whatnot, but ultimately there needs to be money invested in somebody permanently, Liam.
Well, I think what you need now is a reaction for the board that looks as actually they're in some capacity aware of what these needs are. I mean, I'd hate to think that right now we're just starting our search for a striker, but I would not be totally shocked You know, it really wouldn't surprise me, you know. And so, if the boy with Kvitsgarden has been on the radar, and just like it's easy to get a player out when he's sort of agreed that he doesn't want to be here, and you get accolades for that. All right, we've got one player that desperately wants to be here, and we've been working on that deal now for 3 weeks. We've got that player in Kvitsgarden who we've talked to before, and I think money was a stumbling block. I'd like to think that with his performance, I don't think we've saved money by becoming the stumbling block of how much he's valued or worth or wants to get paid. But I'd like to see the board pull the trigger quickly on an incoming deal rather than just an outgoing. We have no problem. We need somebody that's going to get, hey, who's bringing the players in? And they seem to be far more motivated to get players out the door than players in the door. And we tried, we did our best. I'd like to see a little bit more action. I think we all would. And right now, I still think it's like I don't even think we're level, you know. So, you know, we're approaching, as you said, a Champions League qualification round where we could be missing Maeda, we could be missing Kuhn. CCB is always a worry. Alistair Johnson's got a high profile. So there's a lot of players out there that, you know, we could be doing another rebuild. Thank God we know we've got Kasper Schmeichel. So no reason not to sort of build from the back out and say, okay, listen, we've got to make our team a run for next year. This Champions League, because as soon as we start missing that, we'll be back to that basket tin mentality where we need to sell off players.
Yeah.
We don't need to sell players right now. Let's get the players in. We can sell off some of the other players after. But right now, I thought going into this Champions League, we were lacking players. I want to see us get Tierney across the line. I want to see us get another striker. And as you said, I want to see another potential player come in, maybe a loan with an option to buy. Somebody that's going to maybe, you know, contest for either the middle of the park. You know, I'm still not convinced and trusty Scales. I like Scales the better of the two. But yeah, I'd like to see someone else come in, maybe compete for that position, or somebody that comes in. I mean, if we're getting the band together, let's just get Van Dijk back.
Oh, well, that would be all right. I would have him back in a heartbeat, no problem at all. He's still one of the best defenders in the world at this age. We can all dream. There's a name you mentioned in there, but I'm glad you brought it up because I feel really bad that this news has just got completely swept under the carpet all week. But Kasper Schmeichel signed a new deal. We expected he probably would do it. But yeah, he signed it earlier in the week before the Young Boys game. We then win that. Obviously, that takes all the headlines. Then Kyogo's leaving, and that takes all the headlines. And then Jota's coming back. It takes all the headlines. But yeah, I think it goes without saying, Connor, Kasper Schmeichel signing that extra year deal. Huge, huge news.
Massive, massive news, mate. And I feel like you're right. It's kind of just been like it's not been as celebrated as widely as what it should be. Like, we all loved Joe Hart. Joe Hart was, you know, an absolute hero. And Kasper Schmeichel has came in. We all had our, you know, predetermined opinions on him due to his age and stuff like that when he was coming in. Oh, he's all done Joe Hart. God save what's going to be like. He's came in, and the way he's been for Celtic, and I don't mean this lightly just because I'm biased, which I'm feeling unbiased, but I don't care. But he has been genuinely world class for Celtic this season. Yeah. Genuinely world class.
That double save on Wednesday night.
The saves he's pulled off, like the other night for Celtic, basically single-handedly paid for whatever, like, contract extension we've paid for him alone, whatever we paid for him alone. Single-handedly, he has just paid off for himself time and time and time again. He's like, even if Celtic this season have had subpar, below par performances, he's one of the only players you can say has stood up and been counted for. The 3-0 defeat against Rangers, not like to, you know, reopen old wounds. He was one of the only players who you could say earned their wage packet that day because he kept it from being only 3-0. There could have been a lot more. It could have been a lot more embarrassing for us that day if we didn't have Kasper Schmeichel between the sticks. The fact that we've got this done, you know, it was quick. It was, there wasn't, a lot of media speculation and hype and all this bollocks for weeks and weeks and weeks, like what usually happens when a high-profile player in Celtic squad is going to sign a contract extension, whether it was, Taylor before a Carter, Matt O'Reilly, Rio Hattati, whoever, Carter Vickers, Johnston. The media was talking about it for weeks on end, and then all of a sudden, what happens like 5 weeks down the line after we're sick to death talking about it, when's it going to happen? So to see it happen is, is very, is like comforting for me, because it seems like this season of all seasons, for whatever reason, the Celtic board have decided to get their shit together and, work as a cohesive unit with the manager and with everybody else, which is a good sign for me, and obviously with the players as well. So I'm very, very happy that Kasper Schmeichel has signed this, extension. I'm just sad that it can't be for more. Like, obviously, there's nothing to say that we couldn't offer him, another deal come the end of this, but he's basically said that, we can sign him for an extra year and that'll probably be it. He might then retire. But I just wish we could keep him for like another couple of years, because he does not play, he does not seem, he does not like act like his age in terms of the way he physically moves about the pitch, and his goal line. He's so like, his reflex saves are fucking baffling how good they are. Like, genuinely world class saves, mate. And I'm just so happy that he signed this contract extension, because he's fully deserved it from day one. From day one, I think he came in and we seen right away he was a class act.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I know this term gets used a lot, Nick. It infuriates me a wee bit, but sadly, I'm just going to be a hypocrite and just go and use it. But he gets it, mate. He gets it. Kasper Schmeichel, he understands. But I know, Mike, you like Man United, who got a rather nice result last night as well. Well done to them. But obviously, his dad, Man United legend, the similarities between the two, other than the second name, is uncanny. And again, with being Peter's lad, he's got that winner's mentality. I love that about him. I've seen interviews, obviously, since he's joined the club. He did that podcast with Ben Foster recently, where he talked about signing for Celtic and his decision making to come to the club, and just the way he talks about the club. Again, it is another Joe Hart scenario. It's just somebody who's came up here and instantly went, I've made the right choice. And the fact that he's winning so many trophies now at this stage in his career, that's obviously, a massive thing for him. I think he did the presser for last week's game before the Killie game. He was the player that went out and he got asked a few questions about, he was getting badgered about the contract extension. He kept on talking about, well, at this stage of your career, he started a few of his answers with this stage of his career. You start to appreciate these things more. And now that he's up here winning stuff, obviously that's drawn him to sign a new deal. But it's great news. Will it mean that the other goalie, Sensational, however we say it, will he eventually get game time? Will he continue to develop under Schmeichel? Because we all thought that was the plan. Remember, that was what we all thought the vision was in the summer when the two of them were signed quite close together. It's like, well, Schmeichel will be the veteran goalie. He can pass all sorts of knowledge and skills onto the younger keeper, and he'll take over one day. But at the moment, Brendan's pretty much showing that, no, this is my guy. Even in cup games against lower opposition this season, it was still not. Kasper Schmeichel's my guy, and rightfully so, because he's justified that. Brendan wants to win everything. I think after last season, Mick, with that black eye that we took, with losing the League Cup and losing it to Kilmarnock early on, that Brendan doesn't forget these things. I think he wants to get that treble back. So it'll be Kasper Schmeichel, I think, through the end of the season, and to say, rightfully so, Connor picked up on it there, just some of the saves he pulls off. Because a typical job of a Celtic goalie, Mick, the amount of times that they can do nothing all game, they can basically be stood for nothing for 85 minutes, and then it's that one split-second moment that they're called into action, and he's still got it at his age. So it's a fantastic bit of news, mate, that he signed that deal.
As you said, Phil, it's concentration levels are important for a Celtic goalkeeper as well. Because you said we might not get a lot to do during the game, and maybe called to do something out of the blue, and obviously got to pull off a save or whatever. But I'm delighted for him, Phil. As I said, I've been enjoying watching him. I don't know, obviously I've seen him for years and years with Leicester and teams like that. Obviously I followed Man United as well, so just to Peter Schmeichel and he's come through, so I kind of kept an eye on him because of that. But he's on goals game to Leicester, but I think he's been unbelievable signing. Like, I was talking to my mate about it earlier, how good he's been, and probably up there with Boric and Foster for me in terms of ability. Like, I know he's not been here as long, obviously, but I don't remember being feeling this assured about a goalkeeper in a long time. You're just confident. You're not nervous about the ball getting him at all, or in the penalty area. Or, you know he's got the ability to pull off a save at that. Like you said, the double save the other night was just ridiculous. At that time in the game as well, it kind of won us the game, really, because that was, what, 80th minute or something? That's it?
It was. I think it was between 60 and 70. It was somewhere in the middle of the second half. We had a wee lull period, and then they had those two chances in like quick succession. And it was like, if we'd fallen behind there, then who knows? Would we have come back? You know,
well, we weren't particularly playing well in the second half, to be honest. So you can understand that with the kind of nerves surrounding the game. I was kind of not disappointed, but it was a kind of shame for him in a way that it was. I think the club tried to do the right thing, get him a boost and announce his contract the day of the game. Young Boys game, get him a boost before it, but I think it's just been kind of lost in the news because everybody's that nervous about the game. Just kind of brushed over sort of thing. So maybe they've done it the next day, probably get more coverage, but no, I'm delighted for him. And you said, Phil, he's literally played every game, every League Cup game and everything. I think it's a big help as well with his leadership skills. I feel like Cal McGregor's seen a couple of times that is a big help to him as well in the park and speaking to the players and reminding them what their roles and stuff like that. So, what brilliant. I'm actually delighted he's signed for another year because I don't want to end up a potential Barcast again for enough. But no, I've seen this a lot. Like, I'm surprised they'll be given more time, more games like the earlier rounds League Cup stuff. But like, even a couple of weeks against Raith Rovers, that would probably be an ideal one for him just to see what he's about. But I've no problem with Michael playing. He's been brilliant and I hope he carries on. There's no issues. I think he will carry on. He's just got consummate professional mentality and winning mentality and everything. So delighted to see it to stay for another year. Definitely.
Aye. Well, I think as well, he's just taking Joe Hart's role other than just being a goalkeeper, but just being a leader in the dressing room. He's just taking that mantle, no problem. And another thing as well, as much as we love Joe Hart, we all do, obviously when it came to a penalty and try to save one, we were always a bit like, oh, he's not got a great record. When we went to that penalty shootout the other week against Rangers, even though it was quite an up and down game and we were a bit all over the place at times, I just felt like I feel all right with this penalty shoot. I know Celtic and penalties don't usually go hand in hand. I know it's a lethal combination at times, but just with him in goal, I just felt like, well, he's gonna do it. He's gonna save us some way, and he did in the end because obviously they only missed one of the penalties, so he managed to be the hero then in that case. So I feel a lot more assured with that one as well. So that's a big thing. For us, because we've had quite a. I remember Craig Gordon had a terrible record as well, saving penalties. Joe Hart, we've had a few goalies over the years that don't seem to get anywhere near a penalty. But Big Fraser Foster, he was the last one I can remember that was, and Boric as well. Actually, Boric had a decent record of saving penalties, so it is good to have that as well, and up your sleeve because. We do concede the penalty. They do like to throw one at us every so often, so it's always good to have a keeper that's confident between the sticks. But moving back to the outfield again, we've obviously mentioned earlier on, Liam, we need to talk about him. You've got a denim jacket on right now. You don't have the bumblebee on under it though. I don't know, double denim maybe. But obviously Jota, we're talking about coming back. So the conundrum is, and obviously many fans last night were talking about it on the TNF. Are like, but where does he fit in? What does that mean for Kuhn? What does that mean for Maeda? To me, it just means what we saw with James Forrest and Paddy Roberts and Brendan Rodgers' first season. You've got players for the same positions that keep each other very, very sharp. That's what you need. Competition keeps players sharp, and that's a good thing for us. We have got a lot of games to play. Maeda plays a lot of football. Nicholas Kuhn has shown that he can be a little bit vulnerable to injury, so it's good to have a top-class winger there to rotate with them. Whoever we play, if we pick any of those two, that three-man combination, I think we're on to a winner. Because, Liam, the drop-off between Kuhn and Maeda to Palmer and Yang is a chasm. It's a Grand Canyon style. It's that big. It's been so far off it. I mean, it's got to the point where you still would see at this stage, I'd rather have James Forrest, but James Forrest has been injured recently. Like with the problems with if Maeda and Kuhn won't be able to play, Yang and Palmer, they're just not it. They're just not cutting it at all. So to have Jota coming in, and I don't even want to call this a problem. But, Brendan Rodgers is the manager. This is the type of headaches we want him to have, Liam. That he's got those 3 top-class wingers, Jota, Kun, Maeda. So it's only a good thing for me, mate. I can't see any issue here at all.
No, I think this gives him a chance to manage. Do what you say you're good at. Get that Gucci belt polished up, get it there, lay it on thick. But you've now got the players you need for that position. You got 3 for 2 positions. So I think you've got to stop playing the favourites and look at the play who's on form, regardless how they're playing. And that's easy to do. And that should go for every position that we have in the park. I mean, right now, I look at Yang. I want to like him and all that, but he just dribbles the ball into trouble. It reminds me of like Mikey Johnson. And at least with Mikey Johnson, we got, another Scottish player or whatever on the park. But, Palmer to me he's just a Latino Ryan Christie. He's another one as well where I think his intent is great. I think he really wants to be a hero at Celtic, but sometimes he wants it too much. And the ball tends to go a lot harder or overshot or, at the stadium, that sort of thing. He tends to, I think he's a confidence player right now, and I don't see that. I think he's trying to find his way still in this team, and I don't think he'll be here for long. So, let's get Jota in, and if he does move Maeda to the middle, and that's his plan, I think that could work as well. I wouldn't mind seeing Jota, Maeda, Kun. I think that would give a lot of defences a real fright. And if we can,
a lot of pace there, a lot of pace.
Well, we can find a way to get the most out of Maeda in the middle, because I think part of Kyogo leaving was just the fact that this team wasn't set up for him. So I'd like to see more what we were trying to do on Wednesday night there, where we were playing the long ball. We were basically hitting balls past their defenders and letting them run, and our guys going with them. And I think that's something that'd be even more effective in Scottish football. And I'm always surprised that we still want to do this horseshoe work out for the back type thing. And I think it gives them a chance to manage, do what you do best. What I don't like seeing is I hate when we have better players sitting on the bench than guys on the park. And I hate when there's a good player on our bench. How are we not finding a place to play him?
Yeah, that will say it's the type of headache we want Brendan to be having. So hopefully, if it gets over the line, and see, the manager literally today has came out and said he expects it to be done. So you don't usually get managers coming out and talking about players at other clubs. It's always the generic, I don't want to talk about that. Always tries and fobs it off type answers, but no, he's came out and said it. So we can safely assume that it's happening. But Connor, this is a point that, I can remember when Brendan came back in the summer of 2023, Graham Martin has echoed something that I said. We were talking about at the time, who's the players you're looking forward to seeing under Brendan 2.0? And I said, can't wait to see Jota under him. Jota's going to be fantastic under him. And then Jota left. I was like, sad Phil in the corner, really upset about it. But he's coming back. I am very, very excited to see Brendan working with Jota now. I think they're going to get on very, very well together. Just get something about it. It's going to be a match made in heaven. I see Graham Martin is saying, let's see Jota improve as a player under Brendan. We got 25 million from the first time around. If Brendan can work his magic, who knows, in a few years, what will we get for Jota the next time around? So it's going to be an exciting time. I'm delighted to see him coming back. Connor.
Mate, I'm buzzing as well. I mean, Liam's got the denim jacket and I've got the Bumblebee on, but
of course, yes.
I mean, I've got the actual Bumblebee in the wardrobe there, but I figured I put the bus one on since, we bit of harmless self-promotion, never hurt anybody. But I'm so buzzing he's back. Like, genuinely, like, not to be like pedantic or that, but the day he left, like hit me in the heart worse than a lot of my like recent breakups. Like, I was inconsolable in the field position on the flare, crying, getting my eyes out. That video I put out, I was bubbling, like away at it, because like it was just such a I couldn't, like, it was just a force of nature when it came to Celtic. Like, it was the look, it was the style, it was the performances, it was the way he, on the surface at least, like, to the club. I mean, like, granted, it was kind of just before he fucked off, but you didn't just pop down the brazen head and go and get like a photo shoot taken and that just because you're like, I'll just do it to, get likes and clicks on Instagram and that, because they didn't really upload that much on social media if anybody pays attention to that sort of thing. So when he does do it, it's obviously for something relatively important. So he clearly loved his time here, and he just had such an aura about him, man. Like I remember he scored a late goal. I can't remember if it was, probably against Ross County or Dundee or something like that. And remember, he jumps over the barrier in the crowd and he stands up.
It's the Abada goal. He crossed it against Dundee United, and then he just kept his run going and just jumped into the crowd when Abada stuck it in the net. It's amazing standing on the barrier like that.
The videos and that for that is just so good. And then obviously Liam saying where he scores that chip against McGregor, and the derby, he just goes like that with the fist. You're like, just like for such a short period of time, like in terms of a player at Celtic, became such a fucking massive icon. Is actually insane when you think about it. And now he's coming back. Now, people have a lot of reservations. I do have them as well. He's not played a lot of football in the last year and a half. It's fair to say, he got left out a lot of the squads in Saudi Arabia, and he wasn't playing, he was getting left out of squads as well recently at Rennes. So whether he's match fit is another thing, but there's no doubt in my mind that he can come in and he can kick a fucking ball for Celtic. Now, a lot of people were thinking, in terms of strikers, when Brendan came back, what's Kyogo going to be like when Brendan comes back in? It looks to me like he's done a lot more work with the wingers, because you look at Maeda this season, fantastic return, assists. His control. I think he's matured a lot as a footballer. Maeda has this season as well. You look at Kuhn as well. Everybody was thinking Kuhn, when we signed him last season, was a raffle winner.
Yeah,
mate, he's fucking. He's the hottest commodity in Scottish football right now.
Yep.
Like, don't let anybody tell you any different. Don't let anybody tell you it's like some wee fan of a tash you're across the outside of the city, because it fucking ain't. It's Nicholas Kuhn. So what he's done with the wingers this season. He's worked very hard and clearly got them playing a certain way. I think that's what the play relies on this season as well. Because you see, our wingers are the ones who create a lot of goals and score a lot of goals this season as well, who are there to dig us out, sticky patches, sticky situations as well. So the work that he's going to potentially do with Jota, I think when he comes in, could be monumental when he comes in. And I genuinely think that it's going to be, a feast for the eyes when he comes in.
Indeed, we will feast on it when it comes. But that comment up there, Mick, from Martin Anderson, another player, obviously, we're talking about Tierney coming in. Tierney and Jota on one side and Alistair Johnson and Kuhn on the other side. It is quite a scintillating thought, isn't it? I mean, Tierney is still a little bit up in the air. Obviously, the pre-contract, that's pretty much going to happen. It's whether he will be here before the end of the month. I think he will, just based on maybe naive belief. I don't know. But I just think it makes all the sense in the world. He doesn't get much game time at Arsenal, although suspiciously he's been getting a bit of game time recently. I don't know what that does. And also, the fact he played in the Champions League game the other night against Dynamo Zagreb, does that mean he cannot be registered for us in the Champions League knockout stages because he's now played a game in the group stage? I'm not sure on that one. That's bad if that's the case, because we know who might be playing at left back then, Liam. We won't say it out loud. But yeah, like in terms of what Martin Anderson has said there, if that's the plan of what's coming together, then yeah, it's going to be exciting, because Tierney, in the first time around with Brendan, he was that marauding fullback getting forward, and Lustig was the one that would usually hold back. But now we've got Johnston, who likes to go forward, and Tierney will be all about going forward. Plus, we've got these two dynamic wingers, and three dynamic wingers to rotate around. Jota, Maeda, Kuhn. It's a lot of pace. We talk about the Celtic way, don't we? The Glasgow Celtic way and how to play football. This is pretty much the what we talk about. The prototype of it. It's a lot of the tricky wingers coming forward all the time, exciting, fast players. This is exactly it, what Martin Anderson described there, Mick.
That's exactly the point I was going to make, Phil, regarding Tierney, Jota, and then Kuhn and Alistair Johnson. At the end of the day, Phil, football's about entertainment as well. See if you kind of look forward to Tierney, Jota, Johnson, and Kuhn. You just well chuck it and take up knitting or something, you know what I mean? If you get a bit excited with that, prospect is just got me buzzing, honestly. I remember being on with Marky and Pam a couple of weeks ago in the Monday, and we're talking about potential new signings. And I did kind of say Jota, but not for 1 minute did I expect it to happen. I kind of quite like him, and Marky and Pam kind of laughed as well, as if, oh, it's not going to happen, sort of thing. And I kind of agreed with him as well, before, but so I take a player I wanted him coming in, but he was brilliant for West even that. Like Connor said, he was entertaining. He'd all the skill in the world. When he came up with big numbers as well. We scored a lot of big goals and he got a lot of assists and everything as well. So he was a good team player as well in that respect. But I'm just buzzing. I hope it, well, doesn't hope it goes through. It looks like it's going to go through now, obviously. But yeah, I'm just buzzing about it because I think exactly the kind of player we need. But Maida's been brilliant. Don't get me wrong, he's excellent. But need a different kind of option as well. Somebody can run and commit a player and go buy them, whatever. Maida's kind of getting the ball behind it. And well, I'm just buzzing, and I hope it's a sign of things to come as well. What more events are going to start pushing the boat out and try and push us on in Europe. Never knew we're qualified, so I just can't wait to see him put on the strip again for the first time. It wasn't, and then I look forward to seeing him all playing again, up left hand side, up the right hand side. So I'm just buzzing to see it, Phil. I'm delighted. It's like somebody said in the comments, it's just a Celtic player. That's just the type of players we need, and it's we always had the type of players that the skillful wingers that good skill and get crosses in and score goals, make a lot of assists and stuff like that, and he's brilliant to watch. So I can't wait. Him and Kuhn, that might Tierney and Johnson are brilliant enough, but the prospect of him and Kuhn right on wing is just unbelievable. So I can't wait to see him in the strip again and stepping out at Celtic Park or away games or whatever. Brilliant.
No, it's an exciting time. It looks like it's for once a January window is coming together quite well. So hopefully we don't get the usual rhetoric at the end of it, or we tried to buy but nobody wanted to sell. But I know the board's got previous folks, but I just feel like I think we're on a winner here. Seamus McKenna is asking, why is KT not signed now? Well, again, it comes back to he's going to sign a pre-contract, so we get him for nothing guaranteed in the summer. I think after that signed, it gives Celtic a wee bit of leverage to kind of push through and just say, come on, Arsenal, come on, he's on loan for half a season. You're not going to use him anyway. You may as well.
I have a bit of insider information in terms of this. If you want
insider information, all right. ITK Connor, give us your insider information.
ITC. So we have a family friend who has a business where he does installations on houses, like an electrician, but he does like big houses, so he puts in like entertainment systems, stuff like that. It works for like people at Transmit, all the rest of it. Kieran Tierney, this is just, by the way, this is 100% factual, by the way, like I'm no bullshit. Okay. Kieran Tierney's bought a house up in Westfield, and he is currently getting a golf simulator installed into the house. So that is what the family friend is installing in his house. So he should be here relatively soon. I don't know if they're maybe just doing it now, getting the house ready for the summer, but I think the say is he'll be in relatively sharpish. I know people are getting quite, like, where the fuck is he? Fucking come on, Kieran. I think he'll be here soon, don't worry.
I think if value goes, if this is true about the termination of the loan deal, I think that's pretty much written in the stars that Tierney will be in the door, because we talked about it last week, and Brendan actually said in his press conference last week when it was put to him about you would go into the rest of the season a player light in that position, would you? Which we actually did last season. People forgot. And he went, no, that absolutely won't happen. Value's staying, and we have Taylor and Value as the left back, so Value's loan is getting cancelled. And Liam's shaking his head right now because there was that first mention of his name. We've actually gone 54 minutes without even getting to him. But yeah, that could be it. But yeah, I think we will push to try and get him on loan to the end of the season, because, again, going back to what I said earlier about the striker thing, we've got a Champions League qualifier to play in the summer. Kieran Tierney, a little bit of a sketchy injury record. Probably want to keep him playing for the next 6 months to try and keep him in match fitness, so we don't go into the summer and he's a bit behind. If he doesn't play much games for the rest of the season for Arsenal, then comes to us, he's behind. So get him in now. And I think once the deal is announced, it's a pre-contract, I think that gives us a bit of leverage to sort of push and say, well, you may as well. And say they got Mikel Arteta's made it quite clear he doesn't really rate him that highly and doesn't play him that often. So suspiciously, he's been getting a few games recently. I don't know what that's all about. He just came out of nowhere, where at the moment we're suddenly linked with him. But yeah, I think it'll be in before the end of the window on loan. Now, a few minutes to go, because I said at the top of the show, we don't know for definite if the game is going to happen tomorrow. We just see again the latest story is after Hurricane Bobag rolled through Scotland there. There's a bit of damage done to Celtic Park. There's a few pictures doing the rounds on Twitter. The club have put out a statement saying they can't get in to assess the damage properly because of obviously they had to wait till the winds had calmed down. The winds have calmed down a wee bit compared to what they were about 5 or 6 hours ago. And of course, Mick, who is our man in location, he's looking at Celtic Park right now out his window. And he did say earlier on that the lights have been on. The disco lights have been on since about 3 o'clock. So obviously something's going on up at the stadium. So hopefully they're in there assessing it. And hopefully Celtic will tell us early morning, tell us as quickly as possible. But we will just work under the assumption that the game is definitely going ahead. We'll just go with that one. The players did train today. Brendan done his presser. I'd imagine they probably trained inside as well, because to hell we try to train out in that. That was brutal. But Liam, yes, tomorrow, Dundee. We had a bit of a sticky one against Dundee just about a week and a half ago. Obviously, it was on their own patch. That's probably what would have benefited Dundee as well. But usually when these teams come to Celtic Park, again, we always say this on a Friday night, we know what we're going to get from these teams. It's going to be 10 men behind the ball. It's going to be try and hit us on the counter, but ultimately they're there just to stodge it up and get a point. I can't see it being a mad free draw again. I can't see that happening, Liam. Famous last words, hopefully not. But yeah, I think tomorrow a wee bit of revenge might be in the air, because a few players and their reputations took a bruising that night as well, other than a physical bruising, Austin Trusty. So I think there's a few players who've got a point to prove against these Dundee players, mate. Oh, he's muted himself. I'll unmute him. There we go. There you go.
Irons earlier. You know, I want to see, come on, Rodgers, make a commitment. Let's start Valley in this game. You know, I think that's part of the problem. The last game, Greg Taylor's not cut out for these games. Greg Taylor wasn't cut out for that Champions League game. Sign to Claxon all you want, but here I'm going to back it up. 2 points with Greg Taylor that night. Well, the difference between Greg Taylor and Valley. When we had that save after Schmeichel, world-class saves, 2 in a row, Taylor was with the man that actually shot the ball. But he left that man on the centre circle pretty well to run into the right corner where there was already 2 other players and a goalkeeper, leaving that man open. By the time he turns around, he's on his arse for the first shot, and then the second one, he's scrambling as well to the rebound as well. That, to me, he's got the spatial awareness of a Jack Russell Terrier. He has no idea where. I watched him the entire game. Men are drifting in behind him, outside him, everything. He's got no positional awareness. We need to take this inverted fullback and outvert him right at this team. Valley, on the other hand, watch your goal. Now that ball comes out for Schmeichel. I think it goes to CCV, back to Schmeichel again. Schmeichel puts it out to Trusty, bang, and it goes to Valley. And instead of Valley doing what Greg Taylor does, which is like he's on that line, Greg Taylor would usually cut in or like take 3 steps behind the defender so that you can't pass it to him now. Valley didn't do that. Valley took a step forward and he knew the guy was tight and the ball was coming. But rather than just rebound it and pass it back, he turned his body, which is something Greg Taylor can't do, and he hit it one time. Same way we used to see Matt O'Reilly doing that up front. Just that one, like, just sort of bang, quick pass. And what one it got Hatate the time to sort of take it onto his left and put that ball up. So I think that's what we need to do. The other thing that I really like to see the other night, I was really hard on Ida the last couple of shots. Like, you know, maybe he's just not getting it. He looks very lethargic. All right, what I seen in that goal celebration, that cheered me up. That cheered me up as well, because I feel like, oh no, wait a minute, I'm wrong. This boy gets it. But the Greg Taylor thing, I'm right.
A lot of people in the chat agree. To be fair, they're coming round. I remember that first when this began, there was all going, no, leave Greg alone, leave poor Greg alone. But there's a lot more people now in the chat that are very much on your side of that one. Connor, what Liam said there about Ida is so crucial, because right now, as it stands, he is the man. He is the guy that's going to have to play up front pretty much. We're going to have to rely on him. I say it was good to get the goal. Obviously, it was an own goal, but he forced the issue. The work in it, if you actually look at the how it played out, how he timed that run perfectly. I mean, the ball from Hatate is delightful. Like, he picks them out so well. But that could have so easily went wrong in terms of 1 yard a bit too far in front. He's going to be flagged offside, or VAR's going to catch him out. So Ida, despite being the quote-unquote big lump of a striker compared to Kyogo, who's all about, he's got the finesse and the class, Ida, the time that run brilliantly, fend off the defender, force the issue, it bundles into the net, we get the goal. And yeah, the celebrations, a lot of people have been picking up Connor on the body language experts that have been out after the COVID one a few years ago. The body language experts about Ida, he's so lethargic, he's clearly not that invested, his heart's no in it. His heart was fucking in it the other night when he was celebrating, and he needs that so badly. So hopefully we can start to see Adam Ida kick on now, because as it stands right now, he is the man. He is the number 9. Not only does he have the number 9 on his back, he is the literal number 9 for the club now. He is the guy that's going to have to start as a centre forward until another one comes through the door and gives him that competition. So we need him fire and fit. He obviously will, if provided the game goes ahead tomorrow, he will obviously start. But yeah, he'll have a point to prove against Dundee as well, because obviously he had that moment where he pulled out of the tackle with the goalkeeper, where he just seemed to just back out of a challenge. But he'll have a point to prove going forward, and hopefully it starts tomorrow, Connor.
Yeah, I think the thing you've seen with the celebrations was obviously, like, we don't get the goal without his contribution as well. So, there's no way we can really take anything away from him. You can argue that maybe he didn't have the best attempt on goal, but it still went in the back of the fucking net, so who really cares? Yeah. But you see with the celebration, the celebration and jubilation, he celebrated that more than scoring a winning goal in a cup final against Rangers. The absolute ecstatic look on his face was like palpable. You could see, I think what is clear as day is he was getting out a lot of built up frustration in those celebrations. He was like, holy fuck, thank God something recently has finally came off for me. Because I don't think it's for lack of trying. I know he's pulled out a couple of things. He's maybe not looked as sharp. I think he still tries. And like me and my dad argue all the time watching the games. He thinks he's fucking useless. He calls him a big dumpling and all the rest of it. It was the same with Yakimakis. He absolutely hated Yakimakis. He hated Samaras. I think my dad just hates these kind of lackadaisical,
big lanky strikers.
Big lanky, lackadaisical strikers. He just, for whatever reason, he hates them. I don't know why. I think my dad's got a personal axe to grind. Fuck knows why. But I argue with him about Ida, and I'm saying you can't. I'm saying you look at him last season. He almost single-handedly, him and James Forrest and Matt O'Reilly, dragged their arses out of that line for the league title. Basically, one is the cup final. You look at the performance he put in to win the league at Rugby Park in Kilmarnock. Bear in mind, this was Kilmarnock of last season, who were a thorn on our side and were very good competitively in the league. They were very good. Rugby Park was kind of a fortress last season for Kilmarnock. They were very, very good. They were very compact. Adam Ida fucking rattled them last season. He absolutely battled them. He played like a man possessed. You don't get from that to this. The drop off to that is like in such a short space of time. It can't happen. He hasn't lost that ability. It isn't just like fucked off into the ether and went away. He's still got that ability. It's still there. We just need to uncover it. Now, with him being the main man now, you could maybe argue this is his chance to do it. Granted, he's had the starts recently with Kyogo playing it in the wing, but he's still playing alongside Kyogo, who is his main competitor. So, you can argue, let's see what happens. He was going to have to prove it tomorrow, hopefully, if the game goes ahead. I have faith in him. I was very, very forefront in my praise of him last season and me wanting to sign him. I was every week I was banging like the Adam Ida drum. I was like, get him in. Like every wee update about him, like I don't know, fucking off the training pitch to have a spliff on the side of the training at Norwich, whatever the fuck he was doing. I was putting it in the chat saying, is he coming now? Like I was checking like on the airport when I was working, I was checking, flights all day to see if there was any coming in, that he would possibly be on and stuff like that. We was putting up updates and stuff. I'm very, very on the Adam Ida bus. So I really do hope that he can now move on and become, maybe not like because of whoever the hell we bring in to replace Kyogo, but he can try and cement his place as, a bona fide Celtic goal scorer. Don't be a flash in the pan that you were last season. Like we've had so many players, they've had one flash in the pan season, like Greg Taylor, like Anthony Ralston, players who have had one decent half season and then like faded into fucking obscurity. Don't be like that. Shows what you can do. There is a reason that Jose Mourinho scouted Adam Ida and wanted to bring him to Manchester United as a youngster because he's a fucking good player.
I didn't even know that one. I didn't know that he was scouted by Man U. Wow.
He was scouted by Manchester United, but Jose Mourinho was at Man U. He wanted to bring him in. He's a fucking good player. And I think now's the time when he's going to show it.
Okay. Well, hopefully he does. He's now literally not just the number 9 on his back. He is the main man. He is the main centre forward right now as it stands. But Mick, your thoughts on the game tomorrow, providing it goes ahead? Say in terms of the team, I think it's going to pretty much pick itself, really. I don't see much in the way of change right now. The centre backs obviously did take a bit of a doing in the last game against Dundee, but I think just with them being on their home park, smaller pitch and whatnot, probably benefited them. I think Celtic, they showed on Wednesday night they had a team that was looking to press them and they were able to break the press. So hopefully they learn from those mistakes. Obviously, Austin Trusty, there'll be a few eyes on him. Was it Simon Murray was the striker that was giving him grief up at Dens Park? Although it was Murray, wasn't it? The second goal where it was out wide. Aye. So I say Trusty. I mean, I would prefer Trusty starting at centre back here. I'm glad Brendan stood by him. Because I think it would send a pretty bad message, to drop him right away and just keep rotating it. So I'd say, I think in particular, when I said earlier on about some players had their reputations bruised, I think Trusty will have a point to prove against them tomorrow as well. I think he'll be a key man if he's playing, and a lot of eyes will be on him in that battle he is with Murray.
Definitely, Phil. Just to elaborate something Connor said about his dad there. My dad's famous for me at Easter Road when Henry Larsson came on his debut. And he gave the ball to Chip Charlie. And I said, "Who's this clown you're signed now?" So that's come back to bite him severely, obviously.
I think your dad takes the cake of your mind there in that regard, mate.
I would say so, to be honest. But I said Phil really likes him over been off at Celtic Park maybe the last half an hour, 40 minutes. So that's pretty good fuel. So hopefully it goes ahead. I'm just thinking the same team. I've seen folk say maybe play Bernardo and McCowan and stuff like that. And I can see the logic in that if we're playing Villa next week as well. So I can understand that. But Atate's been that off form recently. Though I've seen him start coming back into form again the last couple of games. They don't really want to drop him either. Just keep playing him and get feeding into that form. But hopefully it goes ahead. And I want tomorrow morning to wake up to the Jota video released by the club. Then get everybody excited for the game and stuff like that. So that'd be a brilliant day, I think. But obviously they caused us problems at Dens Park, but you said, Phil, it was more a physical approach to the tight park and the conditions and stuff like that. And it was just after Ross County as well. So I think that was like a backlog of games at that time. So I'm just kind of caught up in the players, I think. But no, I think we're quite comfortable at home against teams like Dundee. And I back up my corner as well. And he does go to kick on now. I think you saw his face come off against Dundee at the end. He just gutted, just so under pressure and just nothing was coming off for him. So hopefully that'll kick him on. That's what it takes sometimes a goal like that, a deflected goal, or to give him a bit of confidence. Because it was such a big goal as well, give that confidence he can kick on down, go on a wee run, hopefully. But I'm looking forward to the game. Hopefully it goes ahead, and I'm quite confident. So get the Jota video out in the morning, get him a good feel-good factor, go to the game, and hopefully we'll smash him for nothing.
Fingers crossed. Well, when you look at Ida, though, in his time at Celtic so far, he may not have scored a lot of goals, but he's got many important goals. All the goals he's scored seem to have a lot of importance to them. So he has got that on his CV right now. But yeah, we need to up the numbers. So hopefully he starts to find his feet and starts banging in braces and hat-tricks and whatnot on the regular. Also, a shout out to one of our commenters tonight, Martin Anderson, says, new subscriber, great show, guys, loved it. We'll tune in again. Hail, hail, God bless. Perhaps Martin was the 5,000 subscriber. Maybe he was the one that took us to the 5,000. Maybe it was as we passed it the other day, so perhaps it's him. But yes, I've seen a few of the comments. So welcome aboard, Martin. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. So before we go, obviously we did a player teaser earlier in the show. I usually do it near the start, and then at the end of the show, we'll have a wee reveal of who it was. Now I was pretty confident, Mick, that you will know who this is. So he played for Chelsea, Celtic, Derby County, Dundee, Preston North End, and Walsall. So Mick, over to you. Who is the hidden player behind the Boise Bus logo?
Craig Burley.
Oh, of course, it's Craig Burley. Yes, indeed. A bit of an underrated player, I think, in Celtic history, because obviously since time has went on, since he was at the club, he's obviously joined, he went into the media, obviously had a bit of a chip on his shoulder, maybe about the way he left the club, especially when you consider the circumstances. He was kind of forced out in the January window to the John Barnes season, and he was still kind of a vital player, you would say, at that point. But some big goals along the way, and it cannot, regardless of what you may think of him, he's a bit in the same category as Chris Commons, where it's easy to forget what he actually did for the club. Commons was an unbelievable player, but obviously his time in the media and some of the things he said about the club has tarnished him a wee bit. Burley the same, but that season stopping Rangers winning the 10 in a row, the game at Celtic Park at New Year, I can remember watching the TV. I didn't have a season ticket. It was long before those days, but watching the TV, and all the time that I'd been watching Celtic up to that point, it was always the same old story for most of the games under Tommy Burns. And then obviously Wim Jansen took over, where Celtic would have a lot of the game, a lot of dominance, and it would usually be a sucker punch. Ironically, that's kind of where we are now, where we're kind of in Rangers' role in a lot of the games, where they have a lot of dominance and we sucker punch them. But that game at Celtic Park, that one in January, was the first time that I saw Celtic properly take them to town. And when Burley's goal went in, Mick, that was like a bomb going off. The noise, I can imagine what it was like in the stadium. And that was intense, that one. And that was such a big win in the end. But I think in that season, did he not get like 18 or 19 goals from centre midfield?
15 goals he got. 15.
Double figures. I knew it was in double figures, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, he's brilliant, Phil. Even that's the obvious one, the New Year game against him at Celtic Park. But even a couple of weeks before that, it was kind of neck and neck with him for the league. And he scored the winner against Hearts at Celtic Park, 1-0. What, 10 minutes to go, and he scored that late goal at Tannadice as well. Early on the season, but I think honestly, without him that season, we don't win that league. You get 15 goals in midfield.
Yeah,
and he was only actually behind Terry Last in terms of goals scored that season. Not Larson did really kick on to the following season, but he's still 4 goals behind their top scorer, and the vital contribution he made. Without his goals and his link-up play with Lambert, I don't think we won the league that season. So, focus out a bit of Phil. I only remember him for that season and what he done for us as a player. Even the following season under Bengals, he could have tailed off a wee bit for injury, but I still thought it was brilliant, honestly. So I literally don't care what says the media. Couldn't care less. I just want to remember his contribution for us in the park that season. And but it was brilliant. Honestly, it was a breath of fresh air as well, because we were kind of worried that Paul McStay was leaving. Obviously,
that's right.
Obviously, he's seen better days. He's picking up injuries with his ankle and stuff, but it was still a worry. And even then, Craig Burley came in. He was playing right fullback or right wing back at Chelsea at the time. So
he was, yep.
We brought him in. He was playing centre midfield and bursting forward, that box to box. So it was kind of taking me surprise a bit, but. I can't underestimate his contribution that season. He was absolutely outstanding. It was great to watch him with Lambert, and then all of that team, Phil. I think I'll just love him to the day. Honestly, just for that, giving us that season, stopping him 1-10 in a row. So,
I remember him scoring as well in the semi-final of the League Cup, because we won the League Cup that season Sunday night, but we had a game against Dunfermline in the semis, and it was a real stodgy one. It was 0-0 up to about the 80th minute, and then Burley scored from outside the area, and it was a 1-0 victory. So again, these goals, they all contribute and add to the success of that season. And God, Celtic and success in the 90s was hard to come by, so that was a rarity that season. 2 trophies in the one season, and of course the most important trophy of them all. The only one we got in the 90s, only league title, but what a league title it was. But yeah, Craig Burley was tonight's hidden player. Hopefully next week I'll remember to do it really quick. I need to add it on my wee to-do list of when I do all that good stuff. I need to write it down on my screen and remember to go to it. Also, the last few weeks I keep forgetting. But anyway, it was Craig Burley tonight. So, quick round table. Mick, you said 4-0. I heard you say something about 4-0 tomorrow. So, yeah, going for that. Confident. Liam, you're always throwing the number 4 out there as well. Your predictions, is it 4 tomorrow? 5? Maybe more?
No. I don't think we'll go that mad. I think four's a good, respectable result.
That is.
I think when this team clicks, that's when you get 3 or 4 goals, and you get just as many misses and all that. When we're playing well, it's just about finishing. It's always an opportunity for us to score 4 goals at home at least. So as I said, 4-0. Greg Taylor plays 4-3.
Okay. He did that last week. I know, it caught me out as well.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he's going to keep doing it every time. And
so he's gone.
GG coming in with the crazy one, 3-0 tomorrow. Couldn't an Ida overhead kick. Oh, jeez, Connor, what you saying to that one, mate? Right. How you saying for the score line tomorrow?
I'm going to say 7-0. I'm going to say Adam Ida hat-trick. I'm going to say Nicholas Kuhn hat-trick. And João Pedro Neves Jota to run in from the tunnel like John Cena in a fucking WrestleMania event, fucking WWE, and he's there, I'm Jake in a Bumblebee strip and score an absolute belter for 35 yards out.
And then give it the celebration. Yeah, man. Okay, I will happily go with that as long as we get the win tomorrow, providing the game again goes ahead, because we can't stress that enough. Right now, we're kind of in limbo, so we're just going on the premise that it is going ahead. But if it does get postponed and it does get rearranged, this is our predictions for the rearranged game in a few months' time. So I'll say that we'll win. I'd go for 3-0 quite a lot, so I'll just stick to that. I'll go 3-0 tomorrow. And another 3 points in the bag, because our nearest competitors have got a sticky one up at Dundee United on Sunday. That's always a bit of a tough place to go. So who knows? The gap might be more. It might be a bit less if we don't play tomorrow. Who knows what it will be? But right now we're still sitting pretty. Obviously, again, from the top of the show, Kyogo's obviously leaving. And I know it's a bit of a gutter for many fans. But as the song does indeed say, don't worry. Be happy, right? We'll see you next week, guys. Catch you then.